So that's nutrition density, nutrients and calories. That's how to think about those things. So we're thinking about nutrients over calories, and now we're going to identify a few foods, some foods that you can access, and how to think about your food list. And when you're out there making decisions, here's a general, very general guideline here. So when you're thinking about foods, and we're going to list them from most nutrient dense to the least nutrient dense, okay? And this is just a very general highest to lowest. There's going to be some interplay here, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. So one, non-starchy vegetables. You're going to want to write this down, okay? You want to make sure that you take some time, you add this to your notes, and you write this stuff down. So, non-starchy vegetables, fruits and berries. I'm just going to go down the list and we'll talk about it a little bit. Fruits and berries are next on the list. Seeds and beans after that. So we got seeds and beans. Fish and whole grains. All right, and so after fish and whole grains, we have meat and full-fat dairy. So meat, full-fat dairy. This is whole meat. This is unprocessed. And we're getting down the line here. We're getting down to the bottom. After that, we've got processed carbs and fat-free dairy. We've got juice and processed meat and cheese. Juice. We'll talk about that. Don't worry, we'll talk about it. Processed meat. Processed cheese. Cheese is typically a processed product, but there's some better ones than others for sure, as you probably know. And then the last one we'll put down there, and it goes without saying, bottom of the barrel here are your fried foods, candies, and your sugary drinks. All right, so this is our list here. This is our list of foods from top to bottom according to nutrient density, right? So we're looking at nutrient density as it pertains to this list of food. So nutrition density. And really the theme here is, you see these non-starchy vegetables, these fruits and berries, as you go down the line, there starts to be more and more of a calorie content, doesn't there? More and more of a calorie load as you go down the line. And so we start with the non-starchy vegetables because they have maximum amount of nutrition. They're heavily nutritious. They have heavy amount of nutrients and very, very low calories. And so when you do the math here, when you divide, right, when you're dividing something, if you have a high number and a low number, you're going to end up with a high number, right? If you have and you know what I mean, so like if you have 100 over 1, you're going to end up with 100. If you have 100 over 2, you're going to end up with 50. But if you have 100 and over 50, you're going to end up with 2, right? And so it's really kind of that math piece. I'm not going to get too far into the math. We're not going to go there. We're just going to stick to the list here. Just go by a few visible standards, and a few things that are really pretty evident. So it's non-starchy vegetables, you know those don't have very many calories. Fruits and berries, you're starting to get up there with a little bit of sugar content, which are natural sugars, and so don't get all caught up on those sugars in fruits and berries because they're natural sugars and they process a little differently. So unless you have a fructose sensitivity or anything like that, then fruits and berries shouldn't be a problem for you. But they are very nutrient dense. Seeds and beans as you go down the line, and things like that. And so we kind of go down through the list there. So take notes on that list. Make sure you have that list. A couple things to think about is that there is some interplay. You know, seeds kind of are intermixed with the berries if you look at a standard list there, but I'm not going to make you go through the list because I don't want you to pick through foods over foods and those types of things. Just have a good idea of what to choose and types of food to choose. But the main standard, if you're thinking about like seeds, so to speak, if you're thinking about seeds or even beans or even carbohydrates, even whole grains, the standard is darker, more colorful is best. So you can take that kale. I pick on kale a lot because it's out there. It was the food of the century, but most people don't like it, and it's really hardly edible as far as I'm concerned. But if you like it, eat it. But I don't eat kale. But kale is absolutely the top of the list. It's one of the absolute top of the list. But it's very, very fibrous. It's very dark. But down the list of just a little ways is spinach. It's also pretty dark green, but it's maybe a little more palatable. It's got a better texture to it, and you don't have to chew it as much, right? All right, so I'll stop picking on kale. But it's true as you go down the line, even fruits and berries. So the fruits that are darker fruits tend to be higher on the list. Seeds, your cashews actually are kind of down with the meats also, because they're very high fat content, so high in calories and not as high in nutrients. And so your darker seeds and beans, and I should put nuts there as well. Nuts are pretty much seeds, nuts. So seeds, beans, and nuts there in that line. So add that to your list, please. So when we're talking about nuts, almonds are more nutrient dense than cashews. They're a darker nut. Same thing, kind of with your meats almost. Your fishes, the white fish, isn't as nutrient dense as your salmons, as your darker fishes and things like that. Meats are pretty standard. You actually have a little bit more nutrition value and density in a red meat than you do a white meat, but very, very little play there. And so a meat is a meat, really. Your whole grains and your starches. Let's add that again. So add starches to that. So if we think about potatoes, there's a big difference actually in the list from sweet potatoes and colored potatoes to just regular white potatoes, because it's those color factors that add a lot of those phytonutrients. And we'll talk about phytonutrients later. And that's part of that nutrition factor, and some of those vitamins and minerals provide the support for that color in your foods. So that's our list there. So write that list down. Make sure you're remembering darker is better. Fried is absolutely bad. Doesn't matter what you're frying. You can fry Brussels sprouts, which is a high nutrient density food. But what are you adding to it? You're adding a whole bunch of fat, oil, or even breading or things like that. Anytime you add something to a whole food, you're going to bring the nutrition density down considerably. Just remember that. So if it's cooked, if it's sautéed, or if it's baked, if it has a little bit of olive oil on it, that's fine. But if it's soaking in that vat of frying, then then you're just going to knock the nutrition density right out of it. Candies and sugary drinks, we're just trying to make better choices, remember, and so see if you can make the modification on those things, and so you don't have those kind of empty calories, because that's really what that amounts to. You have when you have a low nutrient over calories, you get down to almost zero. So you have a zero sum of nutrients there, and so that's why they call it empty calories, because there's just calories and there's no nutrition value. Okay, so try to minimize empty calories at best. So minimize empty calories. So that's probably enough for this topic. Remember nutrition density. We're thinking nutrients over value. We're trying to maximize the nutrition value of every meal, every bite that you take. And remember to satisfy your flavor profile. Make sure you're choosing foods that you enjoy and types of food that you enjoy, but explore a little bit. If you like potatoes, try some darker potatoes. You know, even like a purple potato. They have purple potatoes, things like that. So just an example. If you like certain types of vegetables, like leafy vegetables, try some darker leafy vegetables and see what you can tolerate, what your taste profile can tolerate. And remember, you're trying to bring things into your diet that are more nutrient dense that you'll continue to eat, right? It's not just a temporary thing. We're making permanent changes because we want your body structure, and your body's metabolism and function to permanently change as well. All right, keep it on, guys. You're doing great. If you've made it this far, thanks for sticking with us. I think it's awesome that you're a part of this great community. Keep in the community. If you have any questions about this stuff, make sure you're reaching out to your coach. Your coach should be very versed in this stuff. And reach out to your community. What did you learn here today? I just watched the nutrition density video and it blew my mind. Here's what I learned. So share that with the community, because your perspective is valuable, hugely valuable, because it could inspire and it will inspire everybody else in the community to continue to work toward their goals. So you're important. Your voice is important. Let it be heard. We'll talk to you later.